Hey guys, it's Chris from Revenge Performance. What you're about to watch here is our last run on Rocky Mountain Waste Freak 2.0 this year. Uh, it doesn't quite go to plan, but we did hustle to get the transmission rebuilt at Tulsa, and we were able to make a pass here, especially after we went to Jared Holt's place and got some glass for the car after an incident with a, let's say not so nice person damaged our car pretty heavily. So we do have glass in the car. You can see the door panel is missing right now because we didn't have time to put that back in. But we're gonna make a run here, and I'll talk a little bit more once we kind of get going on the run. But you can see here, it's still taking us a little while to stage, and if we were in real heads-up racing, we'd want to try to basically, foot brake in to the beams here and stuff. That's something we're going to continue to work on next year once we kind of got the ET part of the car figured out. Don't really worry about that. For these type of events, for the normal timed races, the reaction time doesn't really matter. So it takes us a little bit to get on the brake here, and up on the converter. We're only leaving at about 9 pounds, so it's kind of lazy leaving. You can see, but given what we did to the trans and what we really found wrong with the torque converter and transmission later, it's pretty incredible that it actually shifts this well. I think it does really speak to the durability of these units. You can hear that vibration there. Our engine mounting solution we were running actually moved the engine higher in the rear than it used to be, as much as 2.5 degrees versus the 0 that a factory setup does. And so we did end up going back to our solid motor mounts to take care of that problem. But that's kind of why we had that vibration that we didn't used to have. Pass was not super quick. I think it was 11.6 at 119.7, really close to 120. So not quick. I knew right away we weren't running much boost, and so we went back to the pits and found out that the push lock hoses we have just really don't take much heat. I'm really not a big fan of them anymore. The one of them melted on our rear wastegate, probably while we were building boost on the two-step, and so we had a wastegate boost the whole time, so the car was running exactly 15.4 psi of boost based on the spring we had in there, solid throughout the data log. So trapping almost 120, with a Hurt torque converter and a Hurt trans at 15 pounds of boost and conservative timing, I'm pretty happy with that. These 3576s obviously got a ton of room to grow. They breathe really well at low boost, and we had run 19 earlier in the week and trapped 127, and so small changes in boost can make a huge difference on the trap speed on these turbos. And so, once that line was melted, we really didn't have a good solution for fixing that. And with the thrashing we put in during the week, we just kind of wanted to, crack open some cold snacks and enjoy the rest of the day and watch the awards show and things like that. When we got back, after a little while, we tore the car down. Found some heavy damage to the torque converter. Internally, it has some bearing damage, and it all comes about because our flex plate was trying to self-clearance on our engine mounting solution, and therefore, basically knocked the thrust out of the torque converter. And so that's, kind of that. So that's getting fixed right now. We have gone through the trans. It did have a thrust washer that needed some pretty good adjustment on it, and was causing some pretty good in play on the input shaft too, so I'm sure that contributed to the problem as well. But we are going back to a stock separator plate on the block, because it'll give us another 3/16 of an inch for the torque converter bell move, and the spacing between the converter and the flex plate was correct at 1/8 inch, so that wasn't really the problem. It just, as it moved, the torque converter bolt heads, which we'd already ground down as much as you possibly could, we're hitting up against the motor plate on the engine. So we did fix the trans completely. It's got new clutches again. Still got our Kigley billet clutch, front clutch, 6 disc, and the JB Designs billet rear clutch, and it also has our custom 5-disc overdrive, which seems to be working really well. Didn't even burn out throughout this event. We were pushing 30-40% throttle on the interstate with it, which we could not do with the 4-disc unit that comes stock. We also have the 7% over Liberty transfer gears, and some shift kits and alto clutches and some things like that. So it's a pretty solid unit. And again, that it could shift this well, based on kind of what we found that was wrong with it and damaged by the torque converters, bearing going out. I'm really happy, and I think we'll have more spare parts next year. But I think that solving a couple of these issues that we really should have resolved in testing while we were testing this year, we just did not have the time to test, or however you want to put it. It took us a long time to finish up the roll cage and things like that. I pretty much only work on this car after hours because we spend all our time on customers and transmissions and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed this a little bit. You kind of see a little bit of the auto action. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. And when the boost gets cranked up, there should be no reason this thing really doesn't get down the track and boogie. So let us know, if we can help you out with your automatic. We're doing those now, the W4A33 and F4A33s and things like that, in addition to the manuals. And so we're trying to improve the parts ourselves to make sure we know exactly what we're doing so we can get some revenge on your ride.